You know, there is so much music on the YTAL these days that, I mean, I used to do podcasty stuff as the ancestor of these chat streams called MultimediaJay radio style. I very seriously think I could go live and just do a music stream of YTAL tracks. Set something up for that and basically be the DJ of sorts, take requests, the whole 9 yards. Because you know what really needs to happen? People need to realize, especially if they're still confused over the DMCA thing, that commercial music does not have the monopoly on good sounding stuff. And there are YouTubers and content creators who make music that can actually benefit from any publicity that they can get. The YTAL already helps people gain publicity. So if you go looking on the YTAL for a track, you have a link back to their website, their YouTube page in most cases these days. But seriously, I'm very seriously thinking of trying a music stream at some point, featuring music from the YTAL from various eras, taking requests, and the whole 9 yards. Boy, would that be something different for a guy called MultimediaJay. Hey, speaking of which, what is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay. Got the lava lamp back. It's not really doing very much. Got another one on the way. That was a Walmart impulse buy. So, I don't know, maybe Walmart just got the cheesier of the bunch, and, you know, the ones you can get nowadays are a little bit better. But I'm actually going to try one that'll actually fit the Geekhouse dark mode theme a little better. It's supposed to be yellow wax inside blue liquid, so it should be blue and green, essentially, which will fit this theme a lot better. And then we can figure out what to do about the fiber light, because it does have a remote control, similar to a lot of zoomy stuff, and I can force it to be blue all the time, or pretty much any color I want with this thing. But the problem is it doesn't save when it loses power, So if I turn it off with the smart bulbs and everything, then, you know, so unless I want to be grabbing the remote and constantly flipping it over to blue, there's really no way to get it off of RGB. Let me see what happens if I turn it off and put it back on again. Nah, it's only when I flip it on, when it loses power, that's when that happens. Is there a rainbow button on here or something? Yeah, it can basically be any color you want. I probably should have gotten one that was stuck to blue or something like that. Let's see, where is blue? There's white. There's white that turns into an extra light, turns on all the LEDs. We'll leave it on blue for now, but let's see here. What about this? Is this a brightness adjuster? Yeah, this is a brightness. Uh-oh. Oh, I broke it. Very well. Well, there's a very easy way, because it's like that. There's a very easy way to reset it. Turn off the fiber light.
All right, turning the fiber light off.
Turn on the fiber light.
All right, turning on the fiber light.
Okay, it came back on as yellow. Okay, it's changing color. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
And now you've seen firsthand what the problem with that thing is if you try and voice control it. It's the same exact problem as the zoomy light that I tried earlier. So this might as well be a zoomy remote. Oh, what a mess. Even more remotes to keep track of. Yay! Whatever. So I think the Jufu light, that little LED disc on a big tall stand thing that I've wanted to use over in the project area, you might see it over there next time we do a live stream. I think that light would have the exact same problem if I hooked that up. I've been trying to find a use for that. It's a little wobbly because I thought it was broken, but the stand is actually too narrow for it. So it's very wobbly and very easy to tip over. So it's the sort of light that would be good tucking into a corner somewhere where there was less of a chance of knocking it over. But with some of the lighting that I've been using for my tech videos lately, I think having a permanent light around where that cluster of light is facing the computers would probably be a very good thing, and then just move it around and set it up in accordance with the shots and then just put it back when we're done. So you might see even more clutter back there and stuff. Okay, today, Twitch has a mid-roll problem is the main topic of discussion. But we're going to give some folks time to get the notifications and respond and do with a little bit of recap discussion, beginning with some unfinished business from yesterday's discussion about how Discord isn't what you think it is. And that is, I completely forgot one of the streamers who is probably one of the earliest examples of the whole Discord problem was none other than S-Fan himself. Yeah, S-Fan of all people. I used to watch him a lot. But lately, I guess part of the issue that I have with S-Fan is just what he's done with his setup. He was really good at, one of the things you can do on Twitch is basically simulate going over a friend's house and watching him play video games. He used to have a lot of, like warm lighting. He was friendly, cracking jokes. People were memeing in the chat. He was playing classic WoW, all that other stuff. But since he moved to his new house, which is custom built, by the way, evidence of his success as a streamer, that he can have a house custom built from scratch along with his best buddy Mizkif and their next door neighbors to each other. That was part of the plan. Basically start a streamer neighborhood of sorts with multiple streamer houses on the same street. Oh, those crazy Texas streamers, I tell you. But ever since S-Fan built his new house, he's been using more studio-style lighting, kind of like what I did with Geekhouse light mode. And I thought it was cool and all, but the thing is, it just doesn't feel like home. I mean, maybe nowadays with LED technology being what it is, then, it'd be it's cool that everybody can do stuff like this. But I mean, if you just went over, maybe when you're growing up, your parents and whatnot don't have all this fancy crap like you do in your room, or you play video games in the living room on a huge TV or something. Maybe you're more used to the warm lighting of most house lighting and stuff. Like, for example, switch to Geekhouse light mode. Let's jettison all of these fancy colors. Oh, we are yellow as all heck. It doesn't.
Geekhouse light mode activated.
Switch to dim mode. Woo! So maybe you're more used to... Thank you.
just doing my job.
So maybe you're more used to this, except less orange, which I can adjust the white balance in the webcam to make it less orange. I mean, I have it set to extremely warm, but if we make it super cold with the white balance, I mean, maybe you're more used to something like, maybe you're more used to lighting like this. All right, let's set everything back here. Switch to Geekhouse dark mode. Of course, part of the problem is that trying to incorporate... Oh, now I'm smurfed.
Geekhouse dark mode activated.
Thank you.
No worries.
Now I'm smurfed because the white balance is all the way down to cold. There, put some color back in my cheeks. There we go. What I really need is kind of a dim light off to the side, but I have to get used to studio lighting, which I am absolutely not. So a light shining into the corner of my eye bothers the living hell out of me. Plus, I'm supposed to be, essentially, if I'm playing video games, I'm supposed to be a guy who's up late at night playing video games in the glow of his TV. Now, I'm basically lighting myself with the TV. I have the brightness all the way up, and thanks to the wonders of today's technology, it's now only 50 watts to do that instead of 200. Thank you, Samsung. Whatever. So it's, you know, I think maybe some of you folks, I mean, let's be blunt. This technology that lets you have all these nice colored lights without it costing an arm and a leg, either up front or via electricity bills, is new, very new, newer than me even. I mean, I got started in the 2000s when I was an early adopter of CF bulbs, and I was putting up with the compact fluorescents being dim when you first turn them on. Because I remember alternatives to incandescent lighting all the way back in the 90s were rich people toys. You get something where you would have like only 40% of its brightness when you turn the lights on. It would take a minute to get up to full brightness. There was some of that left when I was getting into that with those bulbs. There was some of that when I was getting into that stuff, but by and large, it basically worked itself out, especially when GE got involved. When you weren't buying off-brand CFs because it was new technology that the big companies hadn't started really getting in on yet, it was kind of screwy. But when GE Reveal became a thing, then it is what it is. But LEDs took over everything. At one point here in Connecticut, they were subsidized by a program called Energize CT, which was supposed to encourage the adoption of LED lighting via dropping the price way the heck down. But even today, the retail price, I mean, I can get one of those Mercury Innovations bulbs now for like $5 each. Walmart is selling them in things of two for $10 or so, because even smart bulbs are cheaper now. Of course, I do keep dumb bulbs around. I mean, the voice control thing won't work if the internet goes out. And, you know, last night we actually had ISP maintenance, so it's a good thing I didn't stream late at night, because the ISP is completely abysmal at letting customers know about those outages in advance. If you're nerding out on the website and you have something monitoring the website for changes, which I should probably set up, like an RSS or something along those lines, the CyberBuddy service that I used to use with the little pop-up character in MS Agent on the Silver Bullet used to have a service like that would watch web pages and look for changes. If I can find one of those, I'd love to point it at the website that talks about service outages and then see if it can flag whenever there's a scheduled maintenance and when those notices go up. But the thing is, though, if you flip a light switch in this house, Geekhouse or not, the light's going to turn on like a normal light, because all of the light fixtures that have switches have dumb lights in them. So if this all completely screws up, you can manually override it just by turning the regular lights back on. You know, need to brighten things up in a hurry because you dropped something and you can't really see it with all these fancy colors, flip the switch. It's that simple. I mean, light mode isn't totally obsolete at this place. It's just that this is actually a lot cooler, and except for the lava lamp, less wattage involved per bulb. Really, I should grab like the side light, which is right over there, a little desk lamp, or the one over by the project area, which is side light 2, hook it up to the kilowatt and see what exactly those wattages were again, because the diodes don't use as much. They don't use a lot of power to begin with, but they don't use as much power. They use even less power when they're only doing colors, especially if it's only a single color or a simple color, like one of the primary colors, like blue and stuff along those lines. It's really, really, really cool stuff here. So any discussions about the technology, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to roast Twitch for its little mid-rolls problem. But yeah, so what else is there that's been going on? Let me check my Twitter here. I think all I have is stuff that's about the main topic. Yeah, I do. So it's just, yeah. And then there's, of course, everybody making all the Will Smith memes and things along those lines. Give it a little bit more time and, what's that? Ah, the hillbilly's got that truck working again. All right, that's cool. So we have all this going on with all these lights and things like that, just playing around with it. But for the most part, a lot of what Project EVTO is about is getting through a lot of stuff here. I should probably also mention that people have been subscribing and I have notifications for it, but for some reason, all of my notifications are broken right now, which I don't really care about on a chat stream. Chat streams are supposed to be secondary to the gaming stuff that I do and the other stuff that I do. So I would rather have a gaming stream doing shout outs on those rather than these. These occupy the old niche that vlogs used to be in, where it was some kind of like updates and things along those lines. And in the case of live, people want to talk about something, they'll just pop it into the chat and we'll talk about it. Sure, you know, I show up with something to talk about, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I could always change the title after what I do here. So I do have another tech video ready to go. After I get this discussion all set with its clickable program guide, which, by the way, those have been pretty simple for the chat streams anyways, so it's not that hard to do. Once that's all set, we'll start the next tech video and get back to work on the one after it, because this is going to be the big project with, you know, let's see, what is it? It's March 29th right now, heading towards April Fool's Day, and Windows 8 versus the Delosaurus happened on an April Fool's Day 10 years ago. I deliberately waited until April 2nd to release the video back then because I didn't want people to think it was some kind of April Fool's joke. But we have something similar to that going on right now that is unlike its predecessor 10 years ago, though. This project that I've started has more options available besides sitting there frustrated because an old computer won't run this, that, or the other. Now, I actually do have options, and quite frankly, I have nothing to lose with this machine that I'm messing around with now. So I could fry the thing, and I'd be like, whatever, it's content. I have literally nothing invested in this system, and I don't care if it sits around or not. It already sat around long enough before I finally got around to it, so should be pretty fun. I actually thought about doing it as a live redirect from this stream, but I suppose that's probably worth talking about as our last discussion in the recap section before we go take a break and come back for a discussion about Twitch, and that is this. YouTube has been pitching live redirect lately, and live redirect is a cool idea in theory, but it doesn't play out in practice. It just doesn't pan out, doesn't work well at all. So the idea of live redirect, YouTube has been trying to integrate live streaming into their ecosystem, just like they've been doing with YouTube Shorts, although YouTube Shorts are obviously where more of the attention is when they're leaving key positions in their leadership unfilled, like YouTube ambassador or whatever it is, YouTube liaison. So, but also the head of YouTube gaming right now, who even is doing that? We're not even seeing anything except from Neil Mohan, who's a little too far up the chain, to be in charge of just a division, like YouTube's live streaming division. So ever since Fwiz left, it's like, who's in charge of YouTube gaming? Does YouTube even still care about streaming? We know they're working on stuff and they're going to release some features this year, but those features are not really They're not really earth shattering. They're features that catch YouTube up to Twitch and pursue parity with Twitch. The problem with chasing Twitch on the stream side of things, though, is that you can be feature on par with Twitch anytime you want. You got to change the culture in order for people to accept YouTube as a streaming destination. And I don't think YouTube has that. And given the nature of YouTube, it is so big that they don't really have to care about any one thing that's going on YouTube because it has more momentum than its live streaming counterparts. I don't really think that YouTube's in the position where they really have to give a darn about YouTube gaming outside of special events and whatever streamers they can, sign contracts with to try and bring more activity over here or something like that. But we know full well that YouTube's UI is one of the biggest things holding back streaming. They're working on things like, for example, live rings, but that's mobile only. When does that come over to desktop? I know most of the traffic on YouTube these days is mobile, but it's a chicken egg thing. Is it mostly mobile because that's what people want to do? Or is it mostly mobile because in the markets that YouTube is the biggest platform in certain parts of the world, that's what they have to do? YouTube India, for example, and YouTube is the dominant streaming platform in Eastern Europe, most of Asia, parts of Japan, and Southeast Asia. So it's not like they're woefully behind everywhere else versus Twitch in Western Europe and North America. But YouTube, it's a chicken egg thing. Do they have the thing that they have with all of this simply because it's just what kind of markets they were able to, be dominant in? Real serious question here. LiveRedirect is supposed to try and bring live streaming into the YouTube ecosystem because, well, as it stands right now, you can direct your audience to a premiere, at least that's what it sounded like. You can direct your audience to a new video that you're releasing and premiere it after a live stream. So you have some fun and then you adjourn the stream and everyone gets bounced over to your new video. Sounds cool, except you have to, and I just found this out today. I was thinking of putting the tech video in as a live redirect for this stream, and then I decided against it at the last minute because you have to have the target video set as a premiere already. The problem is, the minute I set the video as a premiere, it spoils the title, it spoils the thumbnail, and it creates a page essentially for you to go and like schedule time to watch or whatever. So, I mean, if I want a new tech video to be a total surprise and premiere after a stream, there's really no way for me to keep that hidden. I mean, can you do an unlisted premiere or something? The premiere feature is something I've never really been all that fond of on YouTube. It's an attempt to take videos and make them more like live streams by having a grand premiere where people can show up and throw supers, but it introduces an element of time sensitivity. If you show up while the premiere is going on, if you can't use DVR mode, you got to wait till the premiere is over before you can actually watch the video. So it really mostly benefits the people that are there just itching to see your new video. And even the supers argument is completely dead, because YouTube has super thanks these days. So if you want to dono because you liked one of my videos, all you have to do is click that thanks button on there. And so it's no longer special to have premieres in terms of, I have supers on top of ad revenue, because people already can do that now that super thanks is a thing. It's just that people are not conditioned to do that. YouTube kind of lacks the kind of dono culture that we see over on Twitch. And it's been one of the biggest cultural differences between the platforms for years. And it was one of the key reasons why content creators gaining some traction had this exodus over to Twitch around the time of the adpocalypse. And some of them have turned into some of the biggest names on Twitch nowadays. So it's part of the reason for that. So you get into this stuff enough to want to go full time and do something besides ads. You start talking about something like a Patreon, and people would throw mud in your face for it. Like, what the hell are you doing, you e-beggar? Well, why don't you get a real job? Because if they have a real job, you like their videos, but if they had more hours at a real job, it'd be less time to do videos. Never really clicked in these people's heads the idea of a creator economy and why it is such a thing these days. Why, if you don't support someone, essentially, past a certain threshold, you're basically saying, I like your stuff, but not that much. And then you have no ground to stand on if you complain that you're not getting enough stuff. You don't get enough videos or streams or whatever. Well, if someone has to take more hours on somewhere else and go work somewhere, of course, that's going to handicap them. And then that handicaps them versus anybody who's able to do full time. And I think, with what's going on with the bubbles bursting from the pandemic, we're going to get our answer on what happens sometime in the next couple of years when full-time content creators have to go back to part-time, and what kind of an uproar that causes when a big streamer or whatever can't afford to keep being a full-time streamer and has to get a job somewhere. Yeah, I know it's a bad thing elsewhere in the world, in the offline world, because I've seen it mostly with like ministers and stuff, where the donations in the churches they were in charge of, if they were a pastor somewhere, weren't enough to be a full-time pastor. So I've heard of ministers going out there working at delivering pizzas for Domino's to make ends meet. And then people in the congregation are like, well, why are your office hours down? It's like, yeah, well, it's because I'm not in a position to be able to be that way anymore. As much as I'd love to, in order to keep the lights on at the parsonage, I have to go deliver pizzas X amount of hours a night. So just a matter of how things work out with that. But LiveRedirect. Let's getting back to that, though. Getting back to the whole thing with LiveRedirect. The situation with super thanks is that people really don't know to use them. I've seen people even coming over from Twitch who are like, well, how come nobody has ever done a super thanks to any of my videos? Because it's not really a thing people care about on YouTube. That's the problem. And that's the problem that YouTube's going to have even with feature parity with Twitch, is they'll get the features, but they won't get the culture. You know? And it doesn't need, YouTube doesn't really need Twitch's culture entirely on the stream side of it, as evidenced by the mainstream media. There's this whole idea out there that if you watch a live stream, you have to be involved in the chat, and you have to feel like you're there or whatever. But what about the people just sitting around watching ABC News? Maybe they just, you know, turn off the chat completely because all they care about is the top headlines, you know, or any of the other cable news streams that are going on YouTube. Or what about wildlife cams? Does there really need to be a big community of sorts other than a few people chatting about the animals? It's a thing. So many people out there, they don't think about how much Twitch has influenced the way people view streaming. But this cultural thing, though, it's been a thing for years, and I don't know what it's going to take to fix this. So you have the brass at YouTube going on about creator economy, this and that, and yet YouTuber after YouTuber after YouTuber is actually leaving YouTube's monetization options to pursue independent stuff like Patreon, in-video advertising, sponsorships, things like that. The cringy, annoying parts of numerous YouTube videos that are going to become outdated if any of these companies getting the in-video advertising these days has some kind of scandal or something. That's going to turn entire swaths of people's videos into a meme. I mentioned NordVPN a lot. I'm not suspicious of NordVPN, but I've seen so many sponsorships for them with so many creators that it makes me wonder just how cringy huge sections of YouTube are going to get if there were ever a scandal at NordVPN that destroyed the brand. So it's like, think like when Comcast used to sell internet directly under the Comcast name, and then they got so known for bad service that eventually they dropped Comcast cable and they rebranded it to Xfinity. That sort of thing. What do we do when, say, something like NordVPN, if there's something like that ever happens at that company, and all of these videos and all of these streams that are like, you know, get a discount code on VPN service with NordVPN. Yeah, that won't age well whatsoever. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when that's the case. Oh, man. So, yeah, it's... But yeah, YouTube is going on and on about the creator economy and how, you know, they're growing like, oh, tens of thousands of channels last year. Tens of thousands were able to go full time. And like, yeah, out of how many total YouTube channels on the entire platform? So you're just latching onto anything you can in what's essentially a marketing speech to just, so I don't know I really don't know what's going to fix this. I just don't know. The cultural divide where people don't like, you know, monetarily supporting YouTubers. What is it going to take to, you know, wrench that out of what it means to be on YouTube? As opposed to on Twitch, where people will spend Oilers will spend ridiculous sums of money just to get a streamer to dance for 2 minutes in the middle of their stream. Just nuts. Completely nuts. Means the world to the streamer in terms of being a big dono and stuff, but just the cultural divide, I think, is probably YouTube's biggest enemy when it comes to this kind of stuff. So when it comes to LiveRedirect, yes, there's plans to expand LiveRedirect to allow essentially raids on YouTube, even though it's going to be limited because there's a technical limitation. I think they have to sub to you in order for you to raid them. But the existing LiveRedirect doesn't really do what you would think it would let you do. I want to be able to spontaneously premiere YouTube videos after streams without spoiling anything to the audience. So you'd think that a feature like LiveRedirect, which is supposed to take people from live to a premiere, that it would allow for that sort of thing. But no, I had to schedule the tech video to be a scheduled release sometime later than when I plan on ending stream, which would spoil the title and thumbnail. So, no. What were they thinking? Especially with Creator Insider and these weekly updates and how they're improving stuff. Why is LiveRedirect like this? Unless I'm missing something somewhere. I might do some more reading on LiveRedirect afterwards, but I'm very, very surprised. I mean, why don't they just open that up so that you can send people, maybe you had a video that didn't get a lot of views that's already released, and you're like, hey, I think this video deserves a second chance. Let's tack it onto the stream and send people there after the stream is over. I mean, why can't LiveRedirect be 100% what it's supposed to be? Now, the de facto raid feature that's coming out is going to do some of that. But I'm talking like people watch your stream, you want to send them off somewhere after the stream is done. Why can't you pick one of your previous videos? What if, say, you know, I did a 10-year retrospective on tech videos and I wanted to send people to Windows 8 versus the Delosaurus from 10 years ago after the stream was over? I don't know. YouTube needs to do a little bit more work on making a little more sense with the features that they offer and how they try to integrate live streaming into everything they already have. It just, because right now I'm just surprised I keep getting these little gotchas. All right. What do we have for live time? 30 minutes in? Yeah. Let's take a break, come back, and let's talk about Twitch's little mid-roll problem, because you know what? Twitch's mid-roll problem is worse than YouTube. All right. Back to what's probably going to be one of the shortest streams that I do if my rant doesn't take very, very long. If it does, it will probably pass the hour mark and stuff. And look at the lurkers. Yeah, unless they're robots, of course, in which case I could say sudo buzz off. Get some emails from some angry robot owners. You sudoed my robots. It is pretty sad. It is pretty sad. Oh, look, there they go. See ya. Bye, robots. Now that, the audience is now going to be, a bunch of people, I hope. We can actually get into our main discussion here. Sudo buzz off. That's a Linux joke, by the way. No, the sad reality of this is that YouTube has streaming, but streaming also on YouTube, streams on YouTube can actually do better as videos than as when they're live. It's just like the live hours versus what you can get. Some of the most radical examples I've seen so far, I've seen streams after the fact cross the 100 view mark. That's on par with the tech videos. So it's just make them interesting and people will watch after the fact. And I think there's more to the story too, by the way. With regards to, this is getting too loose. I'm going to have to retighten it. So there's another issue with regards to that, with, VOD frog channels and whatnot. We know with Twitch DMC and Mageddon, a lot of Twitch streamers were barfing VODs over here, so that way Content ID would take care of any commercial music in their streams instead of risking a strike. But one of the side effects of that is if you start watching a lot of VODs from Twitch streamers, the YouTube algorithms start recommending more of them, including more from the same streamer and more streamers as well. So it gets interesting with that respect. I'm curious what'll happen when that's more of a thing, because that's one of the things YouTube is focusing on, is the algorithms are having a blast with longer form video stuff, because the more time you spend actually watching something, the less time you spend looking for something to watch and potentially going away without watching anything. So that's one of the reasons why the video essay scene on YouTube has gotten so big in the last couple of years. People that essentially make audio, documentaries of sorts, and they tack footage onto it. It's not necessarily like the people that tacked on unrelated video game footage 10 years ago. But today, think of it like, say, a Discovery Channel or whatever, or History Channel, I should say, documentary, where it's like montages, still photos, and people just looking to add graphics to something they're essentially narrating and making a YouTube video out of. There's an entire scene that's devoted to that over on YouTube these days. And I guess that's part of why it's as big as it is because of the simple matter of one thing keeps people occupied for hours sometimes, as opposed to poking around trying to find something to watch. But it's the sort of thing where you have to have a reason to go back in order for that sort of stuff to be successful on a channel. So you want to talk about brand building. In many of these cases with some of these video essay channels, these are people under pseudonyms, or they're not even naming the channel after themselves. And so it's not really about them. Can't imagine your typical self-centered, personality-driven Twitch streamer ever doing something like that. But hey, that's part of what YouTube is. Stuff that's different than elsewhere on the internet. Anyways, speaking of Twitch, Twitch has a mid-roll problem. And this mid-roll problem is worse than YouTube's mid-roll problem. Holy crap. What happened? What happened to the uproar? Late 2020, Twitch starts experimenting with mid-rolls. And there's an uproar on Twitter about it. I set up, you can search, you can click my query from my Twitter if you want, or you can do it yourself and search for Twitch mid-roll on Twitter and compare the results for top versus latest. So get, the latest discussions on it versus the top reacted discussions to it. Scroll a little and you'll see streamers flipping out about mid-rolls and Devin Nash being apologetic for them, of course. But you will see streamers getting upset about mid-rolls 2 years ago. Nowadays, they just say, oh, well, just subscribe. What happened to the outrage? Fortunately, with what I'm seeing when I look up the latest, it looks like the outrage is coming back now that I kind of poked the hornet's nest on it. There's stuff from like the 23rd, 24th, 25th, etc. It looks like people are talking about it now. So, but it's mostly viewers these days. The streamers have strangely gone quiet. It's kind of bizarre that this is even a thing. Says something about the streamers. Shouldn't we know by now that there are streamers out there? They don't call them influencers for nothing. Shouldn't we know by now that there are streamers out there where if they say something's bad, a bunch of people are going to go along with it? How long does this need to be a thing? What happened? So, yeah, here's the issue with Twitch midrolls and a little bit of history on these darn things. So, one of the things we bring up a lot when it comes to Twitch is that Twitch is in the position that it's in because of the business decisions that they've made. They've made the decision to not be a comprehensive platform. They've made the decision to double down on streams. Doubling down on streams will come with its own set of consequences. One of them being the phenomenon where if your content isn't live, it's dead. When you become a Twitch affiliate, not hard to do, by the way, you just have to know how to get those 3 concurrents and 50 followers. So when you become a Twitch affiliate, you gain access to uploads, but I would not recommend using Twitch to upload videos. That you're not going to get views. The whole UI is designed to revolve, I should say, around streams, clips, VODs, and highlights. In other words, what I would call over here, streams and stuff from streams, not produced videos. Most big streamers, you'll see them maybe make a channel trailer, 1 minute of video. And then it only gets views because it's the channel trailer. So it gets played whenever people visit their Twitch channel. But because of this, there's a lot of nasty side effects. Let me just get a blank Google screen on here for this. Because of this, there's a lot of nasty side effects to Twitch doubling down on live only. Basically, the whole viability of their business revolves around and is chained to the weaknesses of live streaming. One of them being, if live streaming is all that matters and not after the fact video, if you're not live, your content is dead. So live matters. And it's going to matter the most to the streamers. It's going to matter the most to their viewers. It's going to matter the most to everybody. Now, what does that do when it comes to advertising? What it does is basically Twitch traditionally, before all this crap started happening 2 years ago, had pre-rolls. And people who, once again, Twitch bowl effect, people that were caught up in all the Twitch garbage. And like Twitch is the world, there's nowhere else. Things don't run any differently like they do on, well, they do on YouTube, but we're just playing along here. No, Twitch is the world. Everything is like it is on Twitch. Twitch is everything. The way Twitch does things is the way everyone must do things. Wrong, 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 wrong. So pre-rolls are so terrible. Twitch, if you go to twitchadvertising.tv, sells their advertising services on the premise that their ads are unskippable, and I was looking at it earlier today before I came up here to talk about this. They used to be working on technology to be ad blocker resistant. There is a little bit of ad blocker resistance in Twitch's ads. So certain ad blockers will not actually stop Twitch ads. So they're unskippables and stuff like that. But they were working on something that would be completely ad blocker proof, because it would inject the ad into the video feed. So if you ever blocked the ad, you'd block the entire stream. They seem to have backed off on that. I went looking over their offerings for brands who want to advertise on Twitch, and I couldn't actually find anything of that sort anymore. It was there a while ago, but it doesn't seem to. I'm guessing they might have run into logistical issues and lag issues, so to speak. If you inject a 30-second unblockable ad into a Twitch stream, then the chat is now 30 seconds behind when the video comes back. So it basically destroys chat in the process. You can't really be involved if that's the situation here. They have been working on some better solutions, though, that are non-invasive, like the little things that pop up on the bottom. It shrinks the stream down and shows a little banner along the bottom or something along those lines. But by and large, Twitch has a bit of a problem with ads being a little too damaging to creators. Now, they're basically going in the opposite direction of YouTube. YouTube's ads started out as those little pop-ups and things when they started, throwing in monetization, little ads off to the side when you played a video. Then they moved into the video ads and things along those lines. Then they started cranking up the mid rolls and everything else, but at least YouTube has a skip button. But even the skip button these days is being somewhat negated by 7-second unskippables, the new hot item that Twitch offers, that YouTube offers advertisers. These two similar problems, tend to mix them up. Oh well. So a lot of times what you see when you go over with your ad blocker turned off, which you should do on YouTube unless you're like listening from a distance or something, because letting YouTube play their ads is the easiest, freest way to support someone you like. Simple as that. But even today, even though you do have a skip button available, and by the way, a skip counts as an impression. So you're not, if you just get one skippable ad when you watch a YouTube video and you hit skip, the creator doesn't get 0. That's an ad impression of the ad that got skipped. It's one of the cool little things, because I mean, it has to play for like a couple of seconds so you can see that it's Allstate Insurance or something like that, or Arby's, we have the meats or something. You just click skip and go on to the video. Twitch doesn't have that. It's all unskippables there, and that's a selling point. But YouTube nowadays is kind of messing with the skip button a little by throwing in a 7-second unskippable and then doing a skippable ad. So you do 7 seconds plus about 4 seconds to skip on a skippable. 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds of ads before you can hit skip, but the shortest ad on Twitch is 15 seconds. So see, that makes me wonder when Twitch is going to roll out a 7-second ad slot to try and combat that. I'm sure they probably will at some point. But let's get back to what we talked about with Twitch and the weaknesses of being live only and how it it filters down to everything in the Twitch ecosystem like that. So being live only means that you are losing out on one of the most scalable things that something like a YouTube will have with its ads, with the ads that it serves, and that is the scalability. If I watch YouTube videos, little 15-minute YouTube videos for a couple hours, that is numerous, even if I skip all the ads that are skippable, that is still numerous impressions that gets bigger and bigger as I continue watching more and more videos. Now, on a Twitch stream, if I get the old pre-roll, that's once. I sit through a pre-roll once. So you can see where the problem is here. So, and of course people, oh, pre-rolls so terrible, people won't watch you because of their pre-rolls. So Twitch threw in instead of replicating what YouTube partners have access to, where we can turn off specific ads or turn ads off completely, they decided to try and compromise in the beginning. They added ad buttons, and if you kept a certain ad density on your Twitch stream, you could shut off mid-rolls. So if I'm streaming Call of Duty and I get up to go to the bathroom or something, don't show my empty chair for 10 minutes, hit the ad button, play like 3 minutes of ads and get like a half hour with no pre-rolls. So people clicking into the stream don't get pre-rolls. Keep in mind, that doesn't change anything. All you're doing is moving pre-rolls to a certain specific spot for 30 minutes. And it might even be bad for a channel, because if everybody visiting your channel got a pre-roll, but you shut them off for 30 minutes, because now people, depending on when they show up, are now not going to get the ad impression that you otherwise would have gotten. So I actually think I think it actually is a bit of a downgrade ad-wise for Twitch streamers if they actually use those buttons. The bottom line is they had them available. Twitch went in the direction of essentially replicating television, where you design your broadcast to have certain spots where you run commercials. And it gave streamers the ability to do this. But how many streamers actually use it? At least under the old system, how many streamers actually used it? The only one I've seen do that is Vindalia, who will be like, okay, pre-rolls are on, let's just chill for a bit and run ads so people don't get pre-rolls. That's one of the reasons why she's one of my favorite streamers on the platform, by the way, because one, she's actually a mature grown-up who actually acts like a mature grown-up. Two, she plays a chill game and is very, very good at chill-style streams. And three, she's probably handled this ads thing the best out of every Twitch streamer out there. So she actually understands that she has to put in some effort to put her ads in the right spots instead of just getting herself interrupted by a mid-roll or just being like, whatever, Another thing you can do, by the way, is run ads during the start soon screen, which nobody should really be too mad about. and start the timer with a huge ad break while the stream's getting going. And that way you have it, shortly before you start your stream. So you have no pre-rolls for the first chunk of your stream, and you have to figure it out later. But so how many other I don't really think I've seen that, or I haven't seen it enough times to remember it ice cold. It's just not something I don't see people being responsible with when they run ads for the most part. It's either going to be pre-rolls all the time, or nowadays a mixture of pre-rolls and mid-rolls. And the mid-rolls can be in some of the worst places. So you see where Twitch has had a disadvantage versus YouTube when it comes to ads. You can see where Twitch has had a disadvantage with YouTube when it comes to ads, though. Their ability to pay their bills by running ads on the free service they're providing, which, remember, video service used to be super, super expensive back in the days before YouTube. That's one of the reasons why YouTube was such a good thing. There used to be websites going bankrupt from too much bandwidth costs because they hosted videos and they weren't getting enough ad revenue to cover the hosting costs before YouTube. It's one of the reasons why folks like myself, I say that YouTube is this great thing. We need to support it. So then Twitch is even more extreme in this case, because all that matters is when people are live. They've designed the site to be so focused on live that literally nothing else matters. It's there. You can watch stuff after the fact. You can replay a VOD. There's reruns for affiliates and up. And when you run out of live streamers in your left bar, it'll show you new videos created by people down on the bottom, whoever clicks on those. But it's even wilder for Twitch, and by default, their ability to pay their bills with that kind of stuff is gimped compared to YouTube. So you watch a streamer for 7 hours, you get a pre-roll when you first tune in, and then what? Hence the mid-roll experiments. They started trying to do mid-roll experiments in 2020, late in the year. The tweets are still up from all the streamers that were enraged by it because they knew what was coming. So then eventually they had to abandon the experiment because there was such an uproar in September of 2020. So they tried it, and everything that everybody was worried about happened. Here's the problem with mid-rolls on Twitch streams. It's live. Like we talked about earlier with the ad blocker proof ads that Twitch could use, might be better on YouTube, where the ads are actually injected into the video being sent to your browser. So if you block those ads, you block the entire video. So they tried with that technology. They tried this, they tried that. The problem is everything's live, and in order to maintain the experience for viewers to the point where Twitch is still as good as it has been made to be among so many people, you have to preserve the live experience. You can't be using ad blocker proof ads that throw your chat up to 3 minutes out of sync, because now you're seeing stuff 3 minutes before it happens on screen because you had an ad interjected into your video, and now you have to hit F5. And maybe, Twitch could run another pre-roll if you hit F5 so to refresh everything and then bring everything back together in terms of chat versus what's going on the screen. But as you can see, that might be why they backed away from this ad blocker resistant technology, specifically because of that. And they've worked on other stuff. So it's extremely important that people stay engaged and they have a live experience of what's going on. You start seeing chat get out of sync with the video, it becomes a problem. So how do you incorporate ads into that? That's been a question that Twitch has been trying to answer, and they don't have a good answer, because fundamentally, unskippable mid-rolls are completely incompatible with streams. Completely. You're going to miss something. And when do you insert those ads? Especially if it's just do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Get this done, get this done, get this done. Valorant match, Valorant match, Valorant match, Valorant match. What other than the old system where when you take a break, you run ads, which will scale things a little, how do you get it to where you have scaling similar to YouTube, where someone binge watches a bunch of videos and there's a bunch of impressions that scale the longer people stay on the platform? How do you get that? There's never really been a good answer for that. They did the mid-roll experiment, and there was the uproar. But that uproar caused them to abandon the experiment. And then they came up with this. Twitch Ad Manager, the ad scheduler. This is what these Twitch streamers are running that determines when ads run automatically. Here's what they have available. They can choose the spacing when the ads take place. They can choose the length of the ad breaks as much as they want. You could add density as well. This might be up where around television or something. And then they can delay when the cycle starts. So, and of course, the best thing to do for this is to have an ad break a minute after you go to your Start Soon screen to start the whole pre-roll thing. Here's the thing, though. This is what television has. This is what television has in terms of scheduling commercials. What's the spacing like? What are the spots? Things like that. This is basically TV 2.0 here. However, when do you ever see a Twitch streamer paying attention to this these days? I mean, there are big streamers, and I first started noticing this with 4-digit streamers who have at least 1,000 concurrents. They started using this and bada bing ads. But look at this. We'll notify you in advance and give you the opportunity to snooze ads from 1 minute to 20 minutes before the ad starts. So if something big is happening in your stream, you can hit the snooze button and hopefully finish the boss fight, win the match, etc. I have never seen someone say they're doing this. Maybe they've used it and they've kept it quiet, but I don't think I've ever seen a streamer use something like this. If we can turn this on, boom, ads are running now. Which I don't really have anything on my Twitch channel except a VOD or two and a couple of other things, so it doesn't really matter for me. Plus, I don't want to use this thing anyways. I want to be the one that chooses when the ads run. So that'll mostly be during downtime or something. And you know what? A lot of this exists because of Twitch's problems with the previous system. Here's what I would like to have. Here's the thing. If I run ads, we're done with this, by the way. If I run ads, light up a little. If I run ads, I want to be running them when I'm taking a break, stretching out a bit. But the longest I can run under the old system is 3 minutes of ads for a half hour of no pre-rolls. I want that to be doubled. I want to be able to get up and walk around for 6 minutes and have no pre-rolls for an hour. 6 minutes of ads, like 16 ads and stuff. People can leave them playing while they're getting up, using the bathroom, grabbing some popcorn, whatever. You know, that might be close to what theaters do during their intermissions. I would love to have double that, but is it in there? No, of course not. So part of the reason why we have to look at this type of system, one of the reasons why this system is even in play in the first place is because of the shortcomings of the previous system. The max you can do. Let me check my own dashboard here. I was already in there. Get out of the Revan. Get out of this. Don't save. Don't save. Let me go to Let me go to my creator dashboard for Stream Manager. See, somebody followed me, etc. Can I get the activity feed off of the screen here? Yeah, Let me just get that out of there. Let me get that out of there, and let me just pop out the chat while I'm at it. Let me pop out the chat to get it off of that screen, put it on screen 2, so I can just show you. It began with a bursty pyromancer. Yeah, I was actually thinking of doing this for an Elder Scrolls Online stream. So here I am, a big nobody on Twitch because I don't hardly do anything on it because of all the problems Twitch has. Edit stream info, clip that, run 3-minute ad break. There needs to be another button for 6 minutes of ads that gives me an hour of no pre-rolls. The most I can get is a half hour with 3 minutes. And I think, what are the recommendations for health, for like being healthy as like a gamer or a streamer or something? What's healthy is get up and stretch once an hour. Nintendo games or other games, they say, hey, I've been playing for an hour, please take a break. I mean, that's really it. And I think, I think that'd be reasonable for the audience too. Like once an hour, we get up, we stretch out, we walk around a bit so that we don't have the nasty health effects of sitting in chairs, being sedentary and whatnot for hours and hours and hours and stuff. I think that would actually be a pretty good thing. Do these close pop out buttons actually work? Close pop out, oh, it does. How is that not flagging as malware? This is closing browser windows all by itself. But yeah, so I mean that's the thing. The shortcomings of the old system on Twitch is part of the reason why we're even having this conversation. There was never something for, I mean, I would love to have that. 6 minutes of ads while we all get up and do our thing. Leave the volume blasting so you can learn about Totino's pizza rolls or Geico insurance or whatever, you know. 6 minutes of ads for an hour of no pre-rolls. Not the hardest thing in the world to do. Gives them a lot of density in that respect without having to use the ad scheduler. And by the way, they made the ad scheduler optional so Twitch streamers don't have to use it. Why? Why is this a thing? Why is this an issue? What are you thinking, Twitch? You could say, okay, Jay, you know, streamers could always blow off the ad manager and just do things the old-fashioned way. There's a couple of streamers still doing that, but I think given what Twitch tends to do to its partners, the big streamers, I think if too many streamers had that issue, that they'd start working this into the contract negotiations. Your Twitch partner, certain amount of subs, certain amount of blah, blah, blah. It goes in as a condition of you remaining a Twitch partner that you'll have a minimum ad density for your streams. That's what I think is driving some of this among the bigger streamers. Somehow this is working its way into the contracts. So, okay, streamers don't want to run ads. Well, we can just contractually obligate them to do so. And of course, we know what the real issue is here. The real issue is these streamers are not finding ways to integrate what the platform needs to pay its bills. They're not the new TV. They're not operating like television. Very few streamers even pay attention to this stuff. For everybody else, you'll get interrupted mid-sentence. It'll be something, you know, like this. So you'll be sitting there, you'll be watching a streamer, they'll be in the middle of talking about something, and that's when you're going to see something. With mid-rolls is just that, etc. It's such a pain in the neck like that, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get cut off? I'm sorry. Did you get cut off and you completely miss what I just said? Well, tough. I'm not going back and saying it because I'm a dumb streamer and I'm just going to keep barreling forward. You know, if you want to actually hear what I'm saying and have me actually make... You know, the streaming stuff isn't easy, you know, and stuff like that. So don't sit there complaining. I want you to sub. Just go ahead and sub or have someone gift you a sub. Blah, blah, blah. Just do that. Subs don't get ads. Blah. And sadly, that's a great example right there. And yes, that was scripted. That was something I planned. But I've actually seen that. I've seen streamers getting cut off mid-sentence. I'm trying to have a conversation with my community. Yeah, and then the ads kick in mid-sentence. And you go to like 8 ads in a row or something. You have no chance of keeping up with the discussion. We'll just install an ad blocker. Well, if you want people installing ad blockers, that's exactly the system that would make that happen. So what streamers have not yet figured out, there is no winning in this unless, of course, and for Twitch, there is no winning in this. Think about it this way. Twitch is like, you must have a certain amount of ad density. Streamers don't put in the effort. They get cut off by like big, long 8 ad breaks that are like 3 minutes in the middle of trying to talk to their viewers about something. And so the viewers install an ad blocker and then Twitch doesn't get the impressions and then et cetera, et cetera. The streamer did everything they were supposed to do. It's like, are you trying to encourage people to install ad blockers with these invasive ads ruining live streams? And let's say you missed something like what you just missed according to what I just did there. You just catch the VOD, right? Well, what if I'm one of those streamers who paywalls my VODs? They exist. Support this shit. So basically, you can't even get a coherent, in the worst cases, with the giant ads in there from people trying to maximize their ad revenue. You can't even get a coherent viewing experience from these people. And then they paywall their VODs, so you can't even see what you missed. There's Twitch in 2022. Of course, we could talk about some of the other ways that Twitch treats its streamers like garbage, like the 50-50 sub split, blobbity, all the stuff that has inspired all this third-party monetization to not be as nuts as Twitch. But the mid-rolls are at the center of everything. This is poison for the platform. Worse than YouTube. On YouTube, okay, whoop-de-doo. You get a mid-roll. You wait a couple of seconds and hit skip and you're back to the video and you didn't miss anything. Doesn't work for streams. Well, what about YouTube streams? When you're partnered, you can turn off video ads. Now, I got everything on right now just for the hell of it, but that means you have a skippable pre-roll, blah, 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 so you're not waiting for like 30 seconds to get into the stream in the first place. And also, when does YouTube ever run mid-rolls? I've been watching some YouTube streams, and it's like once in a blue moon I see mid-rolls. Maybe some engineer at YouTube takes a hint that you can't be ruining people's viewing experiences by constantly cutting off streamers with unskippable ads. It's just like, of course, once you're partnered, you can turn that off. It's right there in Live Control Room. I can actually go in there right now, hit edit. Let me just go to monetization and shut off the skippable and unskippable video ads. Bam. I don't know when that kicks in, but now the only thing people are going to see is ads off to the side or pop-ups. So, and there's not going to be pre-rolls either. So you see that? I can shut ads completely off if I wanted to, but some types are not as invasive as others. And unlike on Twitch, I can control which types are displayed. So imagine if Twitch had that. Imagine if Twitch had the ad scheduler and you could set it to where a high ad density, but it was those ones where it just shrinks the stream down and pops a banner on the bottom. You still see and hear everything that's going on. It's just if you're not a sub, you get accordioned every couple of minutes until you sub. That would work so much better. This entire, like many things that I criticize Twitch for, the solution to this wouldn't be that hard to implement. I think the issue would be the CPMs, though. Let me actually look at the revenue breakdown for the various ads on my channel. I'll need to switch to Firefox for that. Give me another Firefox window. So I tried shutting off video ads, but they auction off for so much more. It's insane. So I basically assassinated my channel's ad revenue to the tune of 75% the last time that I did this. Not going to put this on the screen because CPMs are internal business information. You're not supposed to show that stuff. So let's see. I can show the revenue amounts though, which because of the wages and warehouse stuff that's available around here. It makes more sense. If I want more money, it makes more sense for me to just work more at a regular job instead of trying to build up this YouTube, because there's just the barriers to passing the revenue from even a crappy full-time job are so high for this. The only thing you want to spring for is that it's a passive income, people enjoying your prior content and whatnot. It's a passive. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. Ad revenue. I don't have the percents on here. Give me back to my Creator Studio, please. There we go. I can only see maybe I could do, can I do last 365 days without going into advanced mode? Okay. Over the last 365 days, you folks want to know why? If you want to support what I do, but you don't have any money, turn your ad blocker off and just, binge watch videos and let YouTube run their ads. You can maybe go back to your favorites or something and just watch them again and let the commercials play this time. Hopefully you don't get one of those stupid ass 45-minute YouTube videos being passed off as an ad. But if you do, hit the skip button. Here's the breakdown for ad revenue, even as piddly as it is on YouTube, even with YouTube kind of ruining it for so many people because of right to monetize. The skippable video ads constitute, over the last 365 days, 70% of the revenue on this channel. So the ads you can skip are still like the lion's share of ad revenue on this channel. Followed by bumper ads, 11%, display ads, 9.6%. The non-skippables that annoy the heck out of you because you can't skip them are only about 9%. So like the little 7-second thing that YouTube's been having a ball with these days. But yeah, if you want to support what I do and you don't have any money, just binge watch stuff, maybe watch some of your favorites in terms of the videos and stuff. Turn the ads on, let YouTube run wild, try not to hit the skip button. It'll actually, that's how you do it, And I know because I've done it for years, that YouTube is often something you have going for background noise. So Now, I realize it's better to, like ad block or whatever, or maybe your YouTube premium sub or something like that. But so you're not having to constantly run back to your computer. But if you're like playing a video game and you're like, oh, I've seen this before, who cares if I get ads? Let them play. Learn about all the products and services, like, the latest funny insurance commercials or something. Let it play, because the most annoying, the ones you can skip are actually the ones that they sell for the most. It's kind of crazy how that works that way. But I guess you can see, given this breakdown, with skippable video ads being 70% of the revenue for this channel, and I'm sure there are other channels out there that have the exact same numbers that they're playing around with here. So skippable ads being that much of a revenue driver for these platforms, of course you're going to see Twitch try to do more video ads and maybe even contractually obligate streamers to have a minimum ad density and force them to, if they want to not tick off their audience, step up to the plate and use that snooze button. But even if you use the snooze button, you got to pick a time to let Twitch run ads in order to meet your goals for minimum ad density. So I'm sure this is sounding like something on CNBC or Bloomberg or something, all this business talk and all this other crap like that. But it is business talk. It is essentially Twitch trying in whatever ways they can to make up for one of the biggest business weaknesses of what they are. So focused on live that they don't have very many opportunities to scale their ad revenue the way a YouTube would. So it is Twitch trying to make up for its biggest weakness. The problem is there's things they haven't done yet that they should do in terms of realizing all of their potential. But it's just, I'm gonna have to check out some of these newer responses to the new whole Twitch midroll thing, because it was memed to death in 2020 when they did that experiment before they pulled it back. But now suddenly it's socially acceptable. Why? Great example. KIRLs. Korean streamers, they do a lot of IRL because the internet is better in South Korea than in places like the US, as we just saw with Ginny's Las Vegas trip. Probably be the same thing if she took a trip to Boston. I don't know. The Northeast tends to be a bit more wired than the rest of the country. We'll have to see how that pans out in like a Boston IRL stream or something. But I got to find a streamer based out of Boston besides Heel Mike. he does chat streams and stuff, a lot of indoor stuff, things like that. He doesn't really do a lot of IRL. So I don't think I've ever seen him do IRL actually. But yeah, so the Korean streamers, they have a more robust internet than we do. They can IRL stream with just phones in many cases. They don't have to mess around with Bella boxes or live views or some of these things where you put a bunch of SIM cards in a box to bond the connection so you always have bit rate, even when like half the connections are at like 50% because you're inside a building or something. So you see them, of course, they do a lot of them stream in 720p to try and make things a little more stable, of course. But so Hachu, who won that IRL award, stayed in Texas for 3 months, went back to Korea, got Berry0314, who's one of those, Amaranth style hot girl streamers. She's been on the cover of Max in Korea, by the way. She usually does like dance streams or chat streams in her house. Hachu gets Berry out of the house. It's cool to see them, just being regular old Joes walking around I think a flea market or something. They were in Chinatown in one of their cities over there. And they were looking at little like cutesy little things that folks were selling, kind of like what you'd see at a arts and crafts show or a flea market. And it's like, oh, this is cute. That is cute. I'm like, oh, it's cool. Look, these people are getting out of the house away from the fancy lights. And they're out, out and about, looking like decent people instead of these over-the-top streamer personalities that always have bazillions of lights and YouTube videos and whatever. They're out doing some good old-fashioned IRL, but it's on Berry's channel. And Berry is one of those streamers that cranks the heck out of the monetization, which is one of the reasons why I don't watch her too much. She paywalls her VODs, and she cranks the ad revenue. This is where she cranks the ad density all the way up. Of course, she is a single mom. She's trying to support, raising her kid with what she does. But when you are remember the whole thing with the whole parasocial thing on Twitch? There's a huge emphasis on personalities and the viewers feeling some kind of connection with the streamers. It's not about what they're doing, it's about the who. And so there's this cool kids club on Twitch of all these biggest streamers out there that are basically like household names, essentially. You hang out around Twitch long enough, you're going to hear about folks like Mizkif and Asmongold and Amaranth and stuff like that. You know, there's that's the centerpiece of the whole way in which Twitch ropes people in, even though they have other types of streams like wildlife cams and stuff. And musicians even. Indie musicians, but even the indie musicians do a little bit of that. The ones that are, you know, more successful on the platform. So you have all that going on, and this is the stream, this IRL stream with Barry and Hachu. This is the stream where I see them get cut off mid-sentence by a humongous 8-ad break. And I'm like, it's over. I can't follow this. It's going to be 3 minutes of ads. They're going to be somewhere else talking about something else by the time the ads are over. So Hachu took over on her channel when they got back to the house and did a cooking stream at Barry's place. So I could watch that VOD on YouTube because I missed it on Twitch. Or go dig it up on, I think Hachu's a VOD barfer, though. I think she sends everything off to YouTube to avoid DMCA issues. So I could go onto YouTube and watch, you know, the playback of her cooking with Barry. So, but not the IRL stuff, which is what I originally stumbled upon. I would either have to sub to Barry or get gifted a sub in order to see that stream that I missed. So, the stream that I couldn't even follow because of the ad break, the ad palooza that was going on over there. Unless I'm like, ad blocker, woo! You know? So, how... So let's look at what exactly are the logical outcomes of this situation with Twitch. What are the logical outcomes of it all? So you are a viewer, you're getting into Twitch, you're learning what all those little froggies are in the chat. You start using words like Monka W and Pepe Laugh Tea Time in your normal conversation when you're not on the internet, and people look at you funny. You say Peepo happy or something like that. You start getting into the whole scene. And then you get to the point where you notice that you can't really follow your streamers properly unless you either sub to everybody on the planet or get an ad blocker. There is Twitch Turbo, but when does Twitch ever advertise that? About $9 a month. But the ad-free viewing is supposed to be overrideable for things like big sports events or other stuff. So creators could probably still run some ads that Twitch Turbo won't stop. So Twitch Turbo is the wild card here. Well, let's assume that you feel like you have to lose money or get an ad blocker. Viewer bankrupts himself, sinking too much money into virtual goods, which is a great way, by the way, to wonder where all your money went, because it disappears just like that, and it's really convenient to do. Spending $7 on like 500 bits and having to blow 300 of them on a streamer to pop a message on the screen that they might respond to if you don't get dono-walled. And then because you bought 500, you have to buy another 500 to get another 300 bits because they set their TTS cost at 300 instead of 200 or 100. So, viewer goes broke. A viewer goes broke. Stop, the money dries up. Viewer goes broke, the money dries up. Viewer gets mad, runs an ad blocker. Twitch never catches up in the technological arms race because they try to do ad blocker resistant ads. Money dries up. And how about we deal with the wild card outcome of all of this, which is Twitch Turbo? Streamer viewer pieces out of the entire ecosystem. Like, I'm not going to sub to anyone. I don't care about emotes. I'm going to buy Twitch Turbo, which is roughly the cost of 2 Twitch subs, which I already like at least 2 streamers. So I'm just going to get Twitch Turbo instead of subbing to anybody. Maybe people will gift me subs and I'll use the emotes. But by and large, I'm out. They pay a fixed cost of $9 a month unless Twitch raises the price, which they could if too many people buy it and they lose that monetization. So the money dries up, but not as much. There is no winning for streamers on any of these three. So if they decide to use an ad blocker, you'd better hope that your emotes are so amazing and incredible they want to have them, and that's why they pay you $5 a month or more. If they don't use an ad blocker, you have to hope that they don't start seeing the value proposition side, the business side of this, when they're spending $5 a month on you versus $5 a month for something like a Disney Plus service, or 10 or whatever, or ESPN or whatever. Or how about that bundle deal with Disney and ESPN and whatever the other one is, and which brings the cost of the services to about $5 a month. Where's the value in that? And then we can talk Twitch Turbo. They withdraw from the subscriber ecosystem completely and pay the equivalent of 2 tier 1 subs to not get any ads, and they have access to a rotating list of extra emotes that are not streamer specific. They piece out of the system completely. What is the bread and butter for a Twitch streamer in terms of being full-time with a reliable income? Tier 1s and higher subs. Whatever dries up the subs, gifted subs are fine, but they're not consistent. It's like if you work as a bartender and on the bad nights you're only going to make minimum wage, and you might make decent wages if you get enough tips. It's the tier 1 subs and 2s and 3s that serve as the bread and butter for full-time streamers being full-time, because that's the revenue that's actually reliable. That dries up, so does the ability to consistently stay a full-time streamer. How does that not dry up with this system where people have to if they don't want to go broke, they have to decide which streamers to stay sub to and maybe flip subs on and off? Or an ad blocker, which means, yay, if they don't care about emotes, they have no reason to sub to you anymore because they're just blocking all the ads with an ad blocker. Then Twitch Turbo, perfect excuse to not use an ad blocker, but still piece out of the subsystem. And you're left with what? Twitch's flat CPMs? Let me actually look at my own CPMs right now, because I know what my Twitch affiliate CPM is, and so does anybody who's gotten Twitch affiliate. So you can, if you have gotten Twitch affiliate on Twitch, which your dashboard, your stream, copy your stream, you get credit for once, and your phone over the data plan, so it looks like it's a different IP address, you know, get your 3 concurrents for a month that way, blah, blah, blah. Let me go into my creator studio here. Let me see. Shut up, Avast. That's why I use app windows and not screen windows for these stupid things. Let me actually go into my creator studio here and let me look at this. All right, let's load this up. See, dashboard. Let me go into analytics and let me go to, I'm looking for CPMs here. So let me go into advanced mode. Let me see, what kind of CPMs I've been getting on my videos for the last, let me see what my CPMs are I've been getting on my videos for the last 28 days. And it's just sort by CPM in descending order. I know what it is for Twitch affiliates, so let's just rattle them all off. Come on, Creator Studio. Funny that I would get lag on YouTube at the time when I'm looking up something as mundane as CPMs. Reload. Oops, something went wrong. Please retry. Yeah, YouTube, how about you just have your darn website work? I'm not asking for much here. I'm just asking to look at my CPMs for the last 28 days. Hello? 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 Anybody home? Come on, McFly. It's just sitting there with the stupid-ass swirly bar. It's not showing me anything. Why would Creator Studio go down at this time? It's 8 o'clock at night Eastern, 7:65 on the Pacific, 7:65 Pacific. Now it's not even showing me my channel dashboard. Check the output to the other thing. Yeah, no, the connection's fine. It's YouTube Creator Studio that's broken. Go to Down Detector. Analytics just went out. Manage videos. I should just have a quick link to this. Analytics. You actually going to work this time? swirl, swirl, advanced mode. Swirl, swirl, swirl. YouTube, you suck. All I want to do is look at my CPMs to see which ones are better than Twitch. And now is the time when it doesn't work. Finally! But I don't have the right metrics on the screen. Let me just get these all off of here. Hide. Oh, why does it have to swirl every time I hide these things? Hide, hide. I want to see CPM by video. I should just save a link of this crap. Impressions, click-through rate, blah, blah, blah. Give me views. Give me the CPM. There we go. Finally. And sort it. Let me sort. Can't sort by CPM. Let's just go. Let me look at some of these numbers. Better. Now, the total CPM that I get across the channel is way better than on Twitch. And then on individual videos, yes, no, yes, no, yes, 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 yes. That one's really good. Yes, 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 yes. Really good. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. So, yes, yes, no. Finally. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going over the CPMs. The yeses are all CPMs that are better than Twitch. The extreme majority of the videos that are getting views from the last 28 days have CPMs that are better or way better than what you get as a Twitch affiliate. Done. The numbers themselves are internal business information, so that's confidential. I'm just telling you that, for the most part, YouTube is better than Twitch. So, if you take away the rather basic, if you take away the bread and butter of a Twitch streamer and their subs dry up, unless they're getting better CPMs than what affiliates get, which is a flat CPM, which sounds cool until you learn about how YouTube works, what's left for these people? You're going to see more like sponsored streams and other stuff. People are complaining, why are you playing video games that you're never going to play again just to do a sponsorship? I don't want to hear about the latest mobile game. That's not the kind of streamer you are. Where are they going to get the money from? So like, it's just more of a thing where this mid-roll thing is more of a problem on Twitch than it ever was on YouTube. Looking at some tweets about all this. That's why I'm a little on the blue side now. Mid-roll ads are the worst thing Twitch has ever done. If you don't run them manually, they eventually run on their own, which can lead to viewers missing game time and thus they stop watching. Forces producers to either dedicate downtime to ads or do that. Let's see. There's all the tweets from 2020. And again, the uproar magically disappeared sometime in the last 2 years. Why? Do you want your viewers to have a degraded experience and you want this to cut into the very core of how Twitch works with this parasocial stuff? Let's see. October, Twitch has started running mid-roll ads on my channel without any communication. 30-second ad every hour. It all seems to not matter if I run ads myself. So this is 2020. A huge part of streaming is experiencing things along with the streamer. Interrupting that with an ad is literally antithetical to what makes streaming work. This is all stuff from 2020. Now, the uproar these days is from viewers like myself. Switch off to there's what I did, where I actually showed the screenshot of the ability to turn off video ads on my YouTube streams. Something that isn't advertised enough, by the way. Let's see here. Oh, Twitch is better than YouTube for streams. You mean they're bigger? So if you can find a way to get ahead of the curve on the system, you can have a larger audience as a streamer there. But when is anybody, and of course, YouTube can't even find somebody. YouTube right now has a vacancy in charge of YouTube gaming. So it's like, right. Let's see. Oh, there's something from a podcast last week talking about mid-rolls. Which is worse, pre-rolls or mid-rolls? 62% of this poll said mid-rolls. Etc., etc., etc. You can message March 19th. You can message Twitch support and have them remove you from the affiliate program, but eventually there will probably just be ads for everyone. Yeah, that's what right to monetize was on YouTube. Running mid-roll ads turns on pre-roll, so you can time those a little da-da-da-da-da. I've been saying this about auto mid-roll ads for the past effing several years. They destroy your channel's lurker retention. Maybe pre-roll ads aren't the bigger problem because lurkers and discoverability go hand in hand. Super angry streamer there. Automatic mid-roll ads ruin my experience in a stream exponentially worse than pre-rolls ever have. Well, welcome to the real world, Twitch people. The world is not 100% what's going on Twitch. Congratulations. You found out something that YouTubers have known about for years, but at least on YouTube, there's a skip button. Crazy. And, you know, how about we look at, before we close, how about we look at the single biggest insult of all of this? And that is the simple fact that Twitch doesn't need any of its creators. If people get mad and leave, the traffic just goes somewhere else. There's been some high-profile bans on Twitch lately, most notably Destiny. There's been some high-profile bans on Twitch most recently. And every time there's big names, oh, this person's been streaming for 11 years, why'd they get banned? Every time there's this kind of a conversation going on, this always comes up. Like, what about the value the streamers bring to the program, or to the platform? Go to Sullynome and run the numbers on the value that any individual streamer brings in terms of the watch hours. Let me pop open calculator here. It's going to pop on the screen, right? Let me show you XQC. XQC is the most watched channel on Twitch for the past 30 days, logging in over 18.5 million watch hours. So 18, let's do the math on it. 18,565,177. XQC, hours watched for the past 30 days, and that's down 14%, a little lower than the general red ink that Twitch has been bleeding for the last 30 days. Only recently have there been signs of improvement, but the Twitch has had a lot of red ink in terms of hours watched, viewers per channel, etc. for the past couple of weeks. So here is XQC watch hours. Now this big number I'm typing in right now is the watch hours for the entire platform. Let me see. All right. Thousands, millions, billions. 1.9 billion watch hours for the entire platform for the month, for the past 30 days. Mostly March. Decimal times 100. XQC, biggest streamer on Twitch for the past 30 days, represents less than 1% of Twitch's total watch hours. There is no one streamer that's going to break the platform and take it down with them. Impossible. And we know from viewer behavior studies that people who watch streamers, if their favorite streamer goes away, they usually have backups of some sort in mind. The only real threat is from another platform, like if YouTube beefed up its streaming presence, or Facebook. But that's another discussion entirely. So yeah, it's the ugly truth of the matter. And this is why I talk about, for example, Twitch's algorithm technology that they're working on. The way things work is that Twitch as a business just wants you watching. It doesn't matter, and subbing and donoing and all the other stuff, but at the core of it is they want you watching. And as long as you have somebody to watch, you're going to be watching on Twitch. That's what drives the value to the ads that they sell, even if people are busting out ad blockers. They can negotiate prices and say, our ads are being shown to this huge audience of people. We got this many people on here, And if you go to twitchadvertising.tv, you can see the sales pitch that Twitch actually uses to sell to brands. You can actually see that for yourself and see how they're selling to brands to try and get them to advertise on Twitch. So it's like I said earlier, there's a difference between what's good for a content creator and what's good for any of the platforms that they're on, Twitch included. So we'll see from Twitch more algorithm technology, more attempts systemically to hook your audience up with your potential replacements in case something happens to you. And many of them already have them. Many of them have like second and third streamers they'll watch if their main streamer takes a day off, etc. It's been there in the viewer studies, and there's an entire system that's analyzing the shared audiences on Twitch to see whose viewers overlap with who else's viewers. So this is the sort of stuff that keeps content creators up at night, knowing that no matter how big they get, how unstoppable they look, how popular they seem, the platforms still have the upper hand. The platforms can still get away with banning them and not telling them why. Everything can fall apart just like that, especially for live streamers who are uniquely vulnerable to people trying to sneak TOS stuff into their streams, as opposed to being able to edit it out for videos and other stuff. Scary, scary stuff. And so this mid-roll thing on Twitch doesn't make that any better, especially when you know that there are design issues like what we talked about earlier. 6-minute ad break for an hour of no pre-rolls that haven't been implemented. There's other ways that Twitch could solve these problems instead of degrading the viewer experience with mid-rolls, making people think about getting ad blockers, and playing that cat and mouse game. And overall, becoming a drag on the success of their own content creators. This doesn't need to be a thing, but it is, until someone finally decides to do something about it. 8:12 at the Geekhouse. I'm going to get this discussion where it needs to be. Another hour and a half stream. That seems to be what I'm settling into for these kinds of commentaries and discussions. We'll put the clickable program guide on this, which will not be too robust like the last couple of them have been. Just recap segments, main discussion, any other notable things, etc. And then we'll get on to releasing the tech video. I literally have to just push the button on that. And then getting to work on its successor. Because I got more stuff going on in the project area as I continue going through the to-do list that I've been wanting to do, with this break. And this might be the last one of these that I ever have, so let's make it a good one. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.